Welcome to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio. And this next band that I'm about to interview, oh my God, they have some brutal music, and I mean that in the best of ways. So let's welcome to the show DJ Temple from Without Mercy.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
How's it going, man?
Much better having seen your face. Look at you, you handsome son of a bitch.
Well, I tell you what, man. I don't even know how you got such a great band name. Like, it's so hard to get band names. that especially nowadays. I mean, you did it way back when, but even then, I'm thinking to have such a brutal type of music and that band name not being taken, that meant it was meant to be for your band.
I think so. Stars aligned, all that stuff. I think so. Luck. I'll take it. I'll take the luck.
Right. So let's go back before we move forward. And, what was it? What was that one moment in life that you can remember that you decided metal was your life?
I saw Dimebag playing guitar forever.
Nice.
And that was it. I remember, I was a huge Pantera fan because I remember being in high school, and I always think of this one goddamn hallway. This one hallway that was like the epitome of all the bullying I suffered in school was like right through this hallway. And it was split. There was one side doing Metallica, the other side doing Slayer. And I'm old as hell. Like, look at the gray. Look at the guy. Like, I'm old as hell, bro. So I'm from the era where we had those damn binders of CDs. You would like flip them open and everybody had all the CDs, right? So I remember like people had like the Pantera or the Metallica or the Slayer, and you couldn't listen to both because like one was more brutal and nothing ever spoke to me. And then my buddy Masa, shout out to Masa, who's somewhere in Japan. I don't know what happened to him, but he played me Becoming. It's the first ever Pantera track I heard in my life. It was just that jadadad, jadadad, jadad, and then the crazy double kick pattern that doesn't really make any sense. And I remember I clicked in the Matrix, bro. I was like, what the hell is this? Oh, my God. Yeah, fuck you, Metallica. No offense. No offense, Metallica. But, nah, I'm Pantera all day. What? I have drank the Kool-Aid. What is this?
Nice.
Holy. And then I got to see them live in 2000. And then I got to see Damage Plan live after that. And I actually met Dimebag and shook his hand.
Nice.
And, dude, it's just, that was it. That was it. I'm in the Matrix. Game over.
So it's funny everything that you said, because now I'm going to counter. So first of all, my bullying days were punks against metalheads. So it was like, going back to the 80s, you couldn't be a long hair and go to a punk show. You got your ass beat. You couldn't be a punk and go to a metal show. You got your ass beat. And I always thought it was stupid because the jocks were kicking both of our asses in school. We should have banded together, okay? Instead of fighting each other with very similar music, So it was kind of stupid. I was at Metallica's first show ever, when they were thrash. And, actually, they weren't thrash that first show. But they sounded thrash. There just wasn't a word for thrash yet. And I was at Slayer's first show ever.
Wow.
So I can tell you, number one, okay, as far as the Metallica Slayer thing, that didn't happen until Metallica posed out. And listen, I still love Metallica to this day, but when the Black Album came out, me and my 25 friends that used to go see them all the time in LA were like, fuck those poser sellouts, and I remember when Ride the Lightning came out, and I was like, we were all like, if you took Fight Fire with Fire off of Ride the Lightning and put it on Kill 'Em All, and took Jump in the Fire and put it on Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em All was a perfect album, because it made more sense. Fight Fire with Fire was more Kill 'Em All than Ride the Lightning, in my opinion. But the thing is, something else that hit me that you said, and because it's really something I believe is like you have to kind of be unique if you're going to be metal. It shouldn't be a formula. And I forget the word that you used, but it was basically like it was describing what you thought was different, and it should be different. I find a lot of bands nowadays, that there's so many subgenres and microgenres that they fall into this like formula equation, like they're doing algebra instead of creating music, and it's like, this is how you have to write a metal core song, and that's it. Whereas thrash, there were no rules because there was no thrash. And that's why all the thrash metal bands sound totally different, because it was just experimentation, which is, I think, what metal should be. It shouldn't be a formula. It should be emotions and experimentation and musicianship. You put those three together, and to me, that's metal. And it's real music. Leave the formulas to the pop bands, And that's what I like about your music, because you have a bunch of gender blending that makes it unique, makes it brutal, but not the same as everybody else.
Well, that's really kind. Thank you.
You're welcome. And just the fact that we're talking, like, I won't interview bands if I don't like them. How can you be a metalhead and promote a band you don't like? Like, I never get that. I do festivals and I see people there, they don't even know metal. I'm like, why are you here? Like
it reminds me of this trolling meme we posted once, but I feel like the band, especially me, people don't get the sense of humor sometimes. And like, we posted this picture of Dimebag and we said, it's going to get so much shit, but I thought it was hilarious because it just spoke to that poser thing you were talking about. But we posted this picture of Dimebag. It's a famous one of Dime where he's like, his head's up and he's laughing. Like, it's just the quintessential thing I loved about the man. But it says, rest in peace, Ronnie James Dio, best Megadeth drummer. And I was like, this is hilarious. Like,
that's fucking killer.
And oh my God, the people were pissed. Like, they were so pissed.
Oh my God.
You guys missed the sarcasm.
But I have a feeling that's definitely getting picked up by Blabbermouth.
Oh,
because
he's so good, dude.
Oh my God. Well, it's kind of like, I got to tell you something. So I am going to shout out to them. Like, one of my interviews that really got picked up the most was when Carmine Apiece was on, first time he was on my show. And he said Black Sabbath was not the first metal band, Metallica was. And oh my God, the world did not like that statement at all.
Oh, yeah. That's brave.
I mean, thankfully it was before Ozzy passed, because that I might have had to edit it out if it was after Ozzy passed. But
yeah,
but it's interesting too that somebody like him would say that, and I don't mean for any other reason, just the age, like people of my generation, and like I'm similar ages to Metallica and Slayer. They're a little bit older than me, but not much. We didn't have all this extreme metal. First, the only influence we had to metal was Black Sabbath, Cream, Mountain, things like Led Zeppelin. Like, if you Google Led Zeppelin, they name them as a metal band, which is funny because if you were back in the 70s, they weren't a metal band, but they were a metal band before it was metal. Or even like Helter Skelter by the Beatles. That's a metal song, I think, Right. But and then there was that transformation to the British metal, the Maiden, the Priests, the Scorpions. And for me, like, it's funny, you're talking, I'll tell you, my thing was, so I saw Motley Crue's show at the Roxy on the Sunset Strip in 1980 before they were glam, when they were like considered like horror punk. That was the first show I ever went to, club show I ever went to in my life. And I was like, they were trying to light the Roxy on fire to bring Satan in. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm never going to a real concert ever again. And then that led to me going to bands like Armored Saint and Wasp. And then that led me to Slayer and Metallica. And then they bailed on us and went up to the Bay Area and left me and my LA friends to deal with all the hair metal crap. So me and my bro used to hitchhike up to the Bay Area. And that's when we found out what a real metal show was. Like,
how have we not been best friends forever, bro? Like this is,
I know, right?
This is like, fuck the interview. Let's just chat, man.
That's all it should be, right? You know, like, that goes back to my first statement. This is how metal people interview. I go on tour and I do festivals all over the US, UK, and Europe, and sometimes I listen to other people's interviews, like out of my ear, like in the press area, and I think to myself, oh my God, if I were the band, I'd be slitting my throat right now. And I would rip the script out of your hand too, which I totally would. You know,
I'm hanging out with you right now, and I'm thinking, like, if the other guys in the band were here, like, we couldn't have you interview us before a show. We'd miss the call time 100%. The four of us would be like, oh yeah, but what about like, and Slayer in the 80s, huh? So when I saw Lamb of God, they were like, it would just be, guys, call time. Fuck off. We're talking to Pipeman. This is cool.
See, I love that too, because you know what? That almost happened one time with Mike Muir. Okay. I was interviewing him at Rocklahoma, and I had the whole press tent surrounding me because I was the only one that got his interview. And so they're like, oh, and it wasn't the first time I interviewed him. The first time I interviewed him was on a tour bus in Miami. And during the interview, he got a text message, didn't say a word, got up, walked off the bus, and nobody saw him till showtime. That was a text telling him that Jeff Hanneman passed away.
Oh, shit.
So that was kind of fucked up. But this time was kind of funny because he was just talking. Like, there's a rumor in this industry that he does not like doing interviews. And I have not experienced that. Like, I think I wouldn't want to do an interview with somebody that's not a metalhead and doesn't know my music and is asking me stupid questions. I think I would be that way. But with me, he's talking, and then I cut him off at one point, and I was like, dude, we got to end the interview or else you're going to miss your set. Because literally it was going the right where you described. Like, he would have just kept talking. I had to cut him off and say, dude, you got to go play.
Like, dude, yeah. Yeah. I feel like I've been orbiting metal since I was a kid and never knew it.
Yeah. I'm sure you were.
I'm a pretty big video gamer, obviously.
Me too.
And I remember playing Duke Nukem thinking this was the coolest shit ever, and then rocking the theme song and finding out Megadeth wrote the freaking theme song,
right?
And then be like, okay, well, I'm gonna watch this movie Heavy Metal 2000 or whatever. I'm just gonna watch this like anime movie. Actually, it was Street Fighter 2, the animated movie. Shout out to that one. It was still hand drawn. It's an incredible movie. And the soundtrack to that was Korn Blind. They had Alice in Chains on it. I'm pretty sure there's a Metallica song or two on it. I think Soundgarden's on the actual soundtrack. Probably not. Maybe fact check me on that. But the laundry list of stuff, because that's back when movies also released CDs of their soundtracks, right?
Right.
So that was insane. And then to watch Heavy Metal 2000 and Pantera's on the goddamn thing, or I watched Dracula 2000 thinking it'd be this really lame movie with Gerard Butler, and Pantera's on that soundtrack. And like, I can't just shake. I watched my favorite movie when I was growing up was The Crow.
Nice.
Like the original Crow, and Pantera's on that soundtrack. Like, all right, guys, I tap out. I mean, even you can't see because my office is hella messy. We're prepping for tour. We leave on Thursday. And
nice.
Hidden there. I wonder if I got. Yeah, dude. You can't even find this anymore. This is a DVD release of the 3 videos from Pantera.
Nice.
But it's actually got, like, this is how much of a nerd I am. This has an error on the discography order.
I love it.
They put Far Beyond Driven before Vulgar Display of Power.
Wow.
And I'm like, what?
That's pretty cool.
It's not the order it goes in. Come on.
I used to have the Motley Crue album, the Too Fast for Love album, that had the zipper on it. I think there was only like 25 or 50 made.
Dude.
Like it was a real zipper on it.
Dude.
Right?
Ah.
I was at the first crossover show ever. So it was the first time punks and metalheads were in a room together, and there was no security. It was at Elks Lodge, the Sun Valley Sportsman's Lodge. And interestingly enough, I just interviewed COC recently, and I've interviewed them before, and they were on the punk side. That was pre-Pepper, before they were hardcore punk. And so they were at Download, and I was interviewing them at Download. And like when I interviewed them before, I interviewed Woody on one interview, Mike Dean on another. And this one, Woody and Pepper were in the interview. But man, Woody and Mike Dean remember that show. Like in both interviews, I was like, yeah, you might not remember this, but this is my most epic memory. And I was at the first crossover show ever, and he interrupted me. He goes, it was at an Elks Lodge, wasn't it? He goes, that was both of them did that. It was the most epic show ever. And it was, man, it was like, so you had on the punk side, it was COC pre-Pepper when they were hardcore punk. It was Suicidal before they crossed over. Like you couldn't be a metalhead and go to Suicidal shows in the early days. Okay. And then there was the Descendants. And then on the metal side, it was this band Savage Grace, who was one of my favorite thrash LA bands, or, that they didn't make it like Metallica and Slayer did, but they did tour with Motorhead. And so there's that. And then Dark Angel in the beginning with Don Doty singing, and Possessed.
Oh, Possessed, dude.
Pre-accident Possessed. And oh my God, it was the most insane show ever. Like an Elks Lodge with no security, first time ever punks and metalheads in the same place. And it's kind of like, it was really tall. All I remember in my head a lot of times is people flying through the air, because people were climbing up to the rafters and doing stage dives, like, but not from the stage, from the rafters. And it was like people flying through the air. Talk about sketch. Okay, so I was at Milwaukee Metal Fest recently, and I was at the Violence set, which was it was like a Bay Area 80s Bay Area show. Like it was crazy. There were stage divers like everywhere, all over. So I took a video, I sent it to my youngest daughter, and I said, "Oh, check out this show." And she goes, "Oh yeah, Dad, is that how you knocked out all your front teeth?" And I'm like, "Well, yes, except I climbed up on Marshall's stack and did a swan dive 20 feet high in the air, and the crowd moved." And it was at a Savage Grace show that I actually closed out the show, not because of the fall, but it was the last note of the show. I hit the ground like perfectly. I taught, you can do a TikTok more perfectly. I didn't have evidence because, there's no evidence of shit from my generation, so you tell your kids stories and they're like, yeah, sure, Dad. That's either they say it or they're thinking, or they think you're exaggerating. Like, this was the Sunset Strip days, okay? Anything you say is not, far from reality, no matter how much you could exaggerate it. Because, like, if you were at the Sunset Strip in the 80s and you remember it, you weren't there.
That's the best quote ever.
Right? Right? And so I did get proof, because that band Savage Grace a few years ago came out with their first album in like 25 years. And I get an email, "Hey, from the publicist, can you do me a favor and interview Christian from Savage Grace?" And he's giving me the whole pitch. I'm like, you don't have to pitch me. I was good friends with Christian in the 80s and happy to do it. And so we meet like in the beginning, like me and you did. And I kind of reminded him who I was, because we look a little different from that many years ago. And then he remembered instantly, though. And I'm like, well, we'll talk about stuff on the air because it'll be better on the air. And so during the interview, I brought up that show where I knocked out my teeth. Now, I had always told my kids, like, I was like the biggest tragedy to LA metal ever. Like, and I ended the show and, I painted the whole story. And that's why they think you're exaggerating. Cause like, yeah, sure, dad. So in the interview, literally, this is why I love doing interviews too, because some of my stories can be validated and can be verified. And so during the interview, he goes, oh my God, I wondered what happened to you. Like, cause I was friends with them. I was at their shows all the time and then I was gone. And they're like, oh, we felt so bad. And you were the most tragic thing that ever happened to LA metal. And I was like, score. Sent it to my kids. Listen to this interview. See how full of shit I am. And then, so recently I had another one of those. This is what interviews are good for, getting verification and stuff. So I was interviewing Dante from Venom.
Wow.
And recently. And I just have to tell you, one of my first extreme metal albums was Welcome to Hell. Like, I walked into, we used to go to this place in Oz Records in the Valley, and we used to deal with this record store clerk there, and he would always show us the newest music, the newest gigs. That's how I knew what gigs to go to, what music to listen to. And he handed me this export, Venom, Welcome to Hell. I remember going home and doing what we did back then, unlike now, and opening the album and reading the lyrics and being scared out of my fucking mind because it was the scariest shit ever.
That's how I feel now about Sabrina Carpenter lyrics.
Exactly. And Taylor Swift's Illuminati lyrics. So fast forward, I'm interviewing Dante, and I don't know, I forget how it came up, but it came up. But it's something to do with that. And I was like, oh my God, wait. So listen, I was like, listen, I was at that show, The Ultimate Revenge, Venom, Slayer, Exodus. I heard the rumor that Kronos knocked out Tom Araya backstage, because the rumor was back then that he did that because he went up to him and apparently Tom was saying stuff and he's like, you're not black metal, we're black metal. And talk about gatekeeping, Venom and Slayer gatekeeping each other of who's black metal, and so then he says, yep, because he brought up something and I'm like, so it's true? And he goes, yeah, it's absolutely true. Tom was mouthing off and Kronos beat the shit out of him.
Wow.
I'm like, another story verified that probably people think I'm full of shit, but
Wow.
Yeah, there were some wild times back then. And so I am glad that Pantera came along. Yeah. Because if it weren't for Pantera coming along, metal could have died because grunge killed metal, And so I think without Pantera, you wouldn't have these massive festivals that I do right now with 100,000 people that are all metalheads there for extreme metal, and just nobody has bad things to say about Dime or Vinny. And I did get to interview Vinny before he passed. Yeah, that was cool as hell. I hate that some of my, proud moments are of people that are not with us anymore. That kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, that was one of Joey Jordison's last interviews. That was a bummer too. But, it's great to see that there's bands like you too, that here you are all these years later putting out a new EP. Like, yeah, man. Did you ever think that would happen way back when, and when you were starting this thing out? Did you think that in 2026 that you'd still be putting out new music?
Yeah, like, I mean, I was pretty gung ho for the longest time. I remember I was dating my wife, and we were already like a year or two deep into the band, and like having that conversation, like, this is what I'm gonna do, just so you know. Like, I have a shitty job selling TVs in the morning at the time, like, but this is what I want to do, and I don't see it stopping. And she's like, yeah. I mean, I ain't gonna ask you to stop. Look at you, like it's like asking you to lose your left arm. It's just not gonna be a thing.
You got a great woman there, because it is hard for people to understand, especially when it comes to metal. Like, I have a brother that says to me, "You're not gonna find somebody your age that's into metal," and then, okay, whatever. Come to one of my festivals and tell me that, you know. But yeah, that's so. Go on. I just wanted to comment. What a great woman, because she wasn't Yoko Ono.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to hear a crazier story?
Yeah,
Story about how like this.
Let's hear it.
It just gets ridiculous because like I run a music academy now. Like I teach guitar full time, and that's my whole thing. And I got a bunch of teachers that work under me and stuff like that. But that whole thing started out of this room.
Nice.
I was taking private students on and blah blah blah. There's a time when I was so shitty, I was paying them to let me teach them so that I could get the experience. Like, it was so awful. But I got into guitar school. And like I try not to get emotional thinking about this, because I realize now in 2026 how absolutely ridiculous this is as a statement. But on everything, my wife and I, we weren't married yet. We're getting married in like 6 or 7 months, and I was selling TVs and at the Canadian subsidiary of Best Buy, which was called Future Shop at the time. I was like the number 2 salesman in the company. I was doing $100,000 a shift in gross volume. And I went to work one day and they fucking fired me just out of nowhere. I get the left hook that they're like, because I just asked for like 4 days off to record what would become Without Mercy's self-titled album. And I come home, I got to wake my wife up because it's still hella early. And I got to tell her, like, yeah, I know we're getting married in 6 months, but I just lost my job. I'm the only one working. Like, you might as well leave me at this point. And I remember her being like groggy and her going, well, this is a good thing because I didn't like your manager. He was like, he wasn't right. He wasn't right. And this is just, you have to find a way to play guitar for a living, because that's what the universe is telling you. Like, that's that we don't have a choice in this matter.
Oh my God. How often does a woman tell a guy that at that stage?
Dude. And I'm talking like at this point of my career, I was all right. But like, you know, I'd still flub the Smells Like Teen Spirit solo. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if I practice for an hour, I might nail it. So like, that was some ballsiness on her part. But then I got accepted to guitar school and like music college or whatever the hell you want to call it. And I remember her working 3 jobs, probably like 45 days in a row without a day off, to put me through school. Like, this was everything. We're eating Mr. Noodles for 3 days because we got to stretch this can of salmon that we got given to us by our family. We have to stretch it 3 days. We have 4 cups of rice left to our name. Like, it was a whole thing. And I'm like, God damn it, I will be the best fucking guitar teacher in my area if this is the kind of support I'm getting from her. My parents are telling me to give up. Her parents are like, all my friends were like, buddy, I don't know. And she's like, fuck off. I'm just going to go to work. Leave him alone. He'll be good. Leave him alone. He'll be good. What kind of blind faith is that?
Where the fuck did you find a woman like that, man? Because I'll tell you what, at 59 years old, I was starting to think a woman like that don't fucking exist, man. That's
yeah.
Like, I always listen. You're gonna laugh, but my thing always was. I've changed it recently because of what I just said, but my thing was always like, I'm looking for my Adrian, which is a reference from Rocky.
I that's what I was gonna ask you. My brain went, all right.
That scene in Rocky 2 where, you know, he's gonna fight Apollo again, but basically she didn't want him to fight, so he was training like shit. He was gonna probably get his ass kicked, and you know, she went into the coma. She comes out of the coma, and he's like, hey, you know, if you don't want me messing with Creed no more, I won't do it. And she's like, I just want you to do one thing. And I'm getting chills now just saying it myself. And he goes, what? And she's like, come here, and whispers in his ear, win. And then the Rocky music comes on, and then he's like training like an animal, and then he beats the shit out of Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
You know, your story reminds me of a real life version of that.
It feels like it sometimes, man. And that's more the answer to your question is I don't understand how I got that support. I don't understand why. And in really bad times, like the bands had some terrible shit. But I mean, every band has. But
totally.
We had dropped an album called Seismic, and we got picked up by Blood Blast, and Nuclear Blast was sniffing, and it looked like we were going to be signed, and they were talking about bringing us to Germany. It was a whole thing. And we were like, we fucking did it. Here it is. We did it. At that point, the band was 15 years old, and we're like, we did it. And then I shit you not, we signed the agreement. And even our lawyer is like, this agreement is like really favorable on your side. This doesn't make any sense. I never see these agreements.
Yeah, that would be weird.
So we're like, because you run everything by your lawyer. Look, if anybody's watching this, always get a lawyer to read your shit. Always.
Yep. No, even if you understand the law, because you might not pick up something because you're not objective. Because I do that all the time, and I understand it, but I always, and that is my viewpoint, man. Like when people ask me, for agreements for the radio show on my station, I'm like, listen, I could give you an agreement, but it's going to be all one-sided like every other radio station. You're better off without it. and I'm honest with them because I was on their side of the fence. So I'm like, it's all I'm going to do is tie you into me and own all your shit. Why do you want me to do? You want to sign that? I'm glad to give it to you.
There you go.
So
yeah, he was the lawyer was like, this is crazy. This is like I have nothing that I want them to change of this. The areas where it would have been ambiguous language, so maybe they can get a piece of your music academy or your merch or something. He's like, They say nothing about it. They're specific about this record only, not past catalog, not future catalogs. So maybe that's a thing. He's like, maybe it's concerning they don't show an interest in future stuff, but let's just take with this one. And like, that's a win. Amazing. We talked to our rep. Our rep was great. And the Blood Blast was unbelievably kind to us. Everything was set up. We were like, all right, let's go. Literally like 12 days later, COVID.
Oh my God.
And that was it. Plane tickets gone. No festival appearance, nothing. Oh, can we push this record? Yeah, no one's in office, so we don't. And then, COVID eventually dwindles out and we can kind of sort of get back to it. And we approach them and they go, yeah, but this album's old, man. We need a new album. So we had just spent like $30,000 to make this 9-song album, and it just existed in the ether. Nobody ever heard about it. And then it started. The craziest thing was it started to work against us because the advice we got from the management we had at the time was, quote, the big dogs aren't doing anything, so this might be a chance for you to slide in and get an album out. And I went, okay, that's kind of, I guess that makes sense. But we dropped it in November. So now it looks like it was an album dropped in 2020. COVID's done by 2024. And we're like, yeah, we have a 4-year-old album that we haven't done anything with. It looks like we haven't. It's been hurting us consistently.
Yeah. So
we tried writing new material. And the most egregious thing happened with the material, which was in Canada where we are. There was an influx of just super rich people that were buying buildings because people were losing their shirts due to COVID.
Yeah.
So we would lose a rehearsal space once a week. It was nuts. And we'd find a new one. We'd move in. We'd get set up. The landlord would go, you're not going to believe this. So I think we lost 3 in a month.
Wow.
So like you got that, and then our van blew up, so we couldn't even like tour with the van. I'm like,
you can't make this shit up.
I don't know, man. I don't know. And I remember going for a walk in the snow with my wife and going like, I think I'm done. I think I'm good. I'm going to call it. And she's like, what do you mean call it? Like, explain to me what the hell, like that's a random, who starts a conversation like that? I go, I don't know. I'm in debt for this album that nobody's ever going to hear because they think it's 4 years old. We were supposed to go to Europe, and we're not going to Europe. We tried to go to America, but the visas are like, not only are the visas hella expensive, but everybody gatekeeps how you're supposed to do it. So you're kind of just dealing with the rumor mill of how you're supposed to appropriately do it. So much so that's one of the reasons so many Canadian bands are getting denied their visas is we're guessing how to do it and it's not working right. I went straight to the border and I walked into the office and was like, excuse me, how do I do this properly? Because I'm going to come through this border. And that guy was rad. He gave me like a checklist of things I had to do. That's a cool human. Shout out to Steve at the border. You're awesome.
Nice.
But so I said to her, like, I'm done. I don't know what. Now our van's blown up. So we're going to have to fix a van or buy a new van or like, where's that coming from? And we can't play a local show because all the venues are gone. And then there's a power vacuum. I'm like, this is a perfect storm. And I remember my wife's like, yeah, it's a perfect storm for quitters to show their colors.
Oh, I like her even more now.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you bitch. Oh, she's like, no, that's fine. If you want to give up, which is, not who I married, but like, if that's where we're at in the evolutionary process,
I'm from New York and New Jersey, so that's totally the way I would talk to somebody too. So I love that. That is so not a Canadian way to talk. You guys are too nice and sorry about everything. But she's got the mentality of a New Yorker right there with that shit.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It led to a deeper conversation that ended up being, I think circumstances are telling you that it's time to try one more, but I don't think circumstances are telling you that it's over because you still get emails asking about, can I buy a shirt or can I buy this or can I... And you still get interview requests from time to time. Your publicist still asks, when is there a new record coming? So she's like, it's not like you put out a new record, people go, oh, fuck this again.
Right.
So maybe we plan. And that was 2.5, 3 years ago. We started to plan this EP.
I blame it on your initials.
Yeah. Fair.
DJT.
Yeah. Fair. That it's funny you joke about that though, because like when we first started booking tours, this name, I'm doing this because my name's showing up on the screen right here. This name made people not open the email because they thought I was an electronic DJ trying to book a metal concert.
That's funny.
It is so hilarious to me. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Maybe just take the emple off and now just sign it DJT and see how they respond.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't think so. You might not have gotten this interview.
We planned the next EP, which was ended up being this one, Infinite Loss, and we kind of in the jam space had this mentality of an unspoken. We're gonna treat this like it's the last kick at the can. That's what we're gonna treat this. If we put this out, I mean, the singer and I literally said this to each other. We were outside where nobody else could hear. If we put this out and nobody gives a fuck, I'm done. Like, you'll just never hear from me again. And he's like, yeah, I'm in the same boat. If we drop something like this and they still don't give a shit, I think we just shut off the URL and we just go to civilian life. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, because there's like, I don't know how to put this that doesn't make me get emotional, but you often get compared to other people when you don't want the comparison. You're like, I'm my own dude. I'm doing my thing. Leave me alone. Yeah, but it'd be better is if you did it more like this band because they're super.
Oh, that's what I hate about the 80s. That's what got me away from this industry, actually, in the 80s, is exactly that.
Man, it's still rampant though. Like even some of our comments are like, yeah, but have you heard this band instead? Or they're just trying to rip off this band. No, I'm not. Holy shit, man. I thought COVID would solve the problem with all the people that bitch and complain, especially with live music. Like it was so bad when COVID started that like every festival I went to, I wouldn't join the groups or anything because just everybody's complaining. I'm like, oh, this is the bonus of COVID is people stop being baby asses and complaining and start enjoying live music again. No, they forget.
You know, they forget we didn't have it for 2 years, and they're still being crybaby bitches. You know,
It's nuts. But we literally did everything we could this time. We rewrote the best songs we could. We hired the best producer that we felt like we went at. I'll tell you a secret. It's not really going to be a secret because it will be out there.
yeah.
Like
Don't tell anybody.
we made a laundry list of all the producers we thought could help the band. And I remember there was a list of like 10 people. And we were going to reach out to all of them and like, you know, start the bidding war, whatever, to explain the project. What are you going to do for us? Blah, blah, blah. The whole like business speak. And I remember just speaking up at it and going like, because I'm the business guy in the band. And I'm like, you know, I think this is the complete wrong way to do it. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, what? Realistically, in a post-COVID world where everybody's just buying a quad cortex and downloading Logic on their computer, which one of these motherfuckers wouldn't say yes to us if we're willing to pay them whatever they want?
Right.
Why don't we go for the dude that we think is going to be fun to hang out with in the room and actually likes metal and actually has a list of work that we thought was cool? Not, well, they put out 10 records and 2 of them are really great. The other 8, I could kind of like, why would I pay this asshole money?
Right.
Like, let's try this. And I remember the first dude I thought of was who we ended up using. This is the only dude I even ever messaged. I messaged one dude and he emailed back. He's like, hey man, it sounds like a cool project. We should talk details. Got on the phone call, talked back and forth. And I'm like, yeah, this is the dude. But the band is like, that means we uproot our lives and fly to Atlanta. We're going to fly to Atlanta and do a record, which flying to America from Canada is not easy.
We're major ordeal for people that don't know. Not only a major ordeal, but your Canadian dollar over here sucks ass for you.
For you. Us, it was around 64 cents or 65 cents on the dollar. It was horrific for us. So we're in Vancouver. We have to fly to Calgary, have a 3-hour layover, and then fly to Atlanta. And then coming home, it was the same. Like, so we have to do all these multiple. And my wife and I, we live an hour outside of Vancouver. So then it's an Uber ride after we've landed. It's a whole nightmare. But I'm like, it seems like logistics, bro. Like, we get Google Maps involved. We just figured this guy wants to work with us. And this guy, like, the impression I'm getting is similar to what you said about it, not interviewing bands you don't like or whatever.
Yep.
He doesn't seem to just take any project for the money. Like, so I think we have a chance here. And he put out 2 of my favorite records of the last 10 years anyway. So I'm in. And then, we meet John. We get to start working with John. John has a crazy amount of knowledge in the gear. And he goes like, I hear what you guys are doing for the chorus, but I think it's getting lost in translation. And the lost in translation is we're going to do like, I'm making this up because I don't know shit about this world. But he's like, I'm going to do this to the EQ and everybody else does this to the EQ. And I think that's what you guys are doing. And then we would do it and the chorus came back and we're like, holy fuck. And then that would end up being like the chorus in Infinite Loss. Or The Saint. I see you have the picture behind you. The Saint was a lot of John's ideas going like, it'd be cool is if we had this 8-bit intro. And then we just beat the living shit out of it. And I remember saying if we raw denied them a guitar solo in this track, I think it would be really cool too. Because it has this build up that you think a solo's coming, and then I'm like, and then we do like a soft jazz moment or some shit.
Nice.
But it was a good experience to work with him. And then we were all like, okay, checklist. We've left our home to record a record. We worked with a top name producer to record a record. We lived inside of Atlanta for 10 days where our entire life was making this record, which getting a 3-song EP, pre-pro tracked, recorded, and pre-mixed in 10 days is kind of insane.
Yeah.
But we crushed it. Shout out to John and his buddy Alex. You guys worked your asses off. And then we just got my buddy Diego to help with the artwork. And I was like, cool, man, we'll drop this. And if nobody gives a shit, nobody gives a shit. That's it. There's literally nothing more I could have done. rocking chair philosophy. I'm 98 years old on a porch somewhere in a rocking chair going like, well, if only I did one more. No, fuck it. I did everything in my power, everything. I maxed out every credit card, whatever. And then we saw The Saint, the track dropped, and we were like, here we go. Like, we're going to get 5 views on YouTube. I think it's 8,000 this morning.
Nice.
And, our monthly listeners on Spotify went from 129 to, at the peak, it was 9,000.
Love it.
Like, what is happening? What is happening? I get to meet you. Our publicist calls me and says, can I put this record out? I'm like, all right, sure. Holy shit. Everybody seems hungry about it. The interview people I'm meeting have actually listened to it and seem really cool about it. So we're like, all right, like, cool.
You know what the moral of this story is?
Do every record in Atlanta.
Listen to your wife.
Yeah, right? Right? God, can you imagine like presenting that to somebody, like, because you must know somebody who's married.
I've been married twice.
Oh, okay, there you go. Like,
and yes, I do know people married too.
Imagine presenting that to someone's wife and be like, hey, so 10 days off work, gonna fly to America where our dollar is, horrific. And we're gonna pay this dude money to record us in another country, in another state, when there's another dude 20 minutes down the road that'll do it for a third of the price, maybe even like a sixth of the price, really. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Like, you imagine the response. Like, shit.
But you know what? I agree with all that you said, man, because like that's how the Black Album came about as an example. You have to have the right producer no matter what it is. And, you said something he did that totally reminds me of. So when I started I actually don't just have a show. I own a whole radio network, multiple radio stations, podcasting network. And when I started it like 20 years ago, one of my best friends, I chose him as my head engineer because this dude, he was in a metal band in the 80s. He was in a country rock duo at that point in time. We would go out, he'd do gigs. I would always support his gigs. And he'd always say, I like metal, I like country, and I like Neil Diamond. And he did. He sang Neil Diamond. You swore it was Neil Diamond. But then he could fucking do a killer metal song too, But one thing I always noticed why I picked him as my head engineer was he would be at gigs playing guitar, singing, and messing with the mixer board the whole time he's playing because he was a perfectionist in the sound. So when we first started this network, there was no word streaming. There was no podcasting word. It was called internet radio, and it was kind of bad for the most part because our internet wasn't fast back then. You had that internet twang, if you remember. There was this twang that you would hear like,
yeah.
And so anyway, he got rid of all that. But then one day we're sitting in the studio, and he had perfected the sound as far as I was concerned. I didn't hear any internet twang, no lag, no nothing. And I'm listening in the headphones in the studio, and he goes, here, let me play this. You hear that? And I'm like, no. He goes, we have to fix that. I'm like, okay. And that's what it reminded me when you said that, because he's like, he heard something I had no clue was going on. So, yeah, okay, go ahead, fix it. if you say so, type of thing. So that reminded me. I'm also going to drop another bomb on you. Remember, I was talking about that record store clerk?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, I forgot to tell you his name.
Oh.
He owned this small record label back then. You might have heard of it.
No, it's not. Oh, my God.
Go ahead. Give a guess.
Is it Brian Slagle?
It sure the fuck is.
Oh, my God.
Sure the fuck is.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I it's funny because I saw him several years back, and I had to give him kudos. Like, it was the first time I saw him in like years and years. And I was like, man, I got to tell you, what you did back then, that was freaking brilliant, And he was like, yeah, I was just a record store clerk. Like he really didn't set out to do this massive marketing. Like that's something I would actually do as a business person. I would become a record store clerk so I could push my label. That's not what he did. He was a record store clerk, started a label, and just like recommended stuff, but he didn't like do it as some grand marketing plan. And that's what's genius about him, because that's why he's still around and still respected in the metal community, because it was for the pure love of metal, period.
I have a Brian Slagle story.
Let's hear it.
I really hope that I get the chance to meet him one day so that I can give him the biggest hug in the world.
Nice.
Because I have friends that are they're in signed bands on Metal Blade, and that's all. I'm not going to say who they are because I don't want to out them in this. But they're close with Brian. So when we were shopping Seismic, the album that was coming out in 2020, we were getting nowhere, and so I just asked them. I'm like, what can you just? I don't know how to ask this. I said, can you give this whoever needs to be given it at Metal Blade, and even if they want to pass, I don't care. Can they tell me why no one answers my submission ever? Like this is a process that I'm confused about. And they were like, yeah. So we'll go ask. And when they asked who would apparently be Brian's like, that band from Canada. Yeah. I'm saying the wrong word. The board, whatever. They want to pass. There's nothing I can do about that. But I really liked them, and I was pushing that record. Like I was like, this record is fantastic. And apparently like he pushed us real hard, and they decided to pass on us, obviously. But geez, man, why you didn't have to do that? Like I know,
right?
Like, wow, shit, man. Like you hear stories about Brian like from back in the day and stuff, and you just kind of like assume maybe over evolving and realizing who he is. It's like he doesn't really do anything anymore like that. And no, apparently no, he's still like, I really like this band, do something, and these guys are cool. Why aren't they with us? This would be great. That means the world to me. I don't even care. That's the story I tell about Metal Blade now. I don't tell the story that we got passed or whatever. I tell Brian actually liked us. This is cool.
Yeah.
Big hug, Brian. This is me, because I'll probably never see you. So this is me giving you a big hug right now.
Well, when this EP blows up and you're playing all the U.S. festivals, maybe then you'll give them a hug.
I mean, fingers crossed, man. You mentioned Milwaukee Death Fest. We want to play that so bad. It comes up all the time in our chats. All the time.
Well, it was Milwaukee Metal Fest.
Oh, sorry.
Are you talking about Maryland Death Fest?
No, it's the Milwaukee one. I brought up Maryland Death Fest, but it's definitely the Milwaukee one that Alex, our vocalist, talks about all the fucking time.
Yeah, the one that Jamie Josta runs, right?
I guess so. I'm ignorant to who runs it, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's the one I was just at, that he took it over. It's been around forever, but then it was gone for a long time, and he took it over like, I think it was 2023 or 2022. And man, I do a lot of festivals. I loved that festival because it's so obvious that it's run by a musician, a metal musician. Like that's the problem sometimes, is like, just like all of it, leave the creativity to the creatives, leave the business to the suits. I'm not against, like, I'm a business person. I'm not against the business people, but that was my problem back in the 80s. It's like, so you're taking these bands and you're changing the way they look, the way they sound and everything else. And yeah, it worked for a little while and it got killed because of that. Like, I think the musician should decide what goes on with the creativity part, while the suits decide what the business part is. I think both parts are needed. So I'm not saying there shouldn't be business people. I just think people should know their role, and like me, I'm the type of person, like, I would trust the band's creative ability and talent more than my business sense for that part of it. Because there's one big part of it. When you're a band and a record label's telling you how to play your music, you're not as good because you're not playing the way you would play. You're not playing something you would like. So how can you be totally great at your craft when you're not doing what you are best at doing? And the fans notice that in a heartbeat. They notice if you're just dialing it in or if you just love what you're doing. I'd rather a band be up on stage loving what they're doing than somebody that was packaged and it's all fake. And that's why metal's so big right now, is because now the metal bands can have that creativity. There's more control nowadays that metal bands have. And, you know, and that's where you can see who is the true musicians, in my opinion.
I mean, that's what drew me to Pantera was Dime just beaming the whole time. He's out there. He's like, goddamn. I'm even thinking about this video some more, like even the behind the scenes stuff. When are they not just having fun? Like,
man. Now you mentioned anime.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a trivia question for you.
Oh, I'm so going to get this wrong, but sure.
It should be easy. So what drummer who has been in several bands, but was in a band that I mentioned in this interview and still is, but also is in a band that has an anime and a movie on Adult Swim?
Gene Hoglan?
That's the man. Yep. Death Clock. Have you seen them live yet? Death Clock.
No, I keep missing them. Like,
oh my God, I just saw them. That's why I thought of it. Oh my God, it's so insane because, and I've actually talked to Gene, and basically they make it all about the anime, the live show. So they're kind of, there's no lights on them, very little, so you can't really see what they look like because they're showing the anime up on the screen. Right. So they're playing along with the anime.
Awesome.
And it's so fucking badass.
Awesome.
And I'm like, I just sit there like in awe, like I'm like in shock. And his drumming, I mean, Jesus Christ, like
Gene Hoglan cured my depression.
Wow, I want to hear that story.
It'd be my trivia question for you, but my trivia questions are horrible. You're going to get this in 5 seconds. So I'm in my early 20s. I met Dimebag Darrell. I said, I want to start a band because of you. And he looked me in the face. Was like, to fucking do it, brother.
That's so a dime way to say it too.
100%. And like, he was still mid shaking my hand and he made eye contact and squeezed, he's like, fucking do it, brother. And I'm like, oh, but you're like Dimer. He's like, you'll be up there one day. And there's a venue in Vancouver called the Croatian Cultural Center at the time where I saw Damage Plan, which is where I met Dime, which is where I asked him that question or told him that statement. And he said it to me. And literally the next day I started my band. And then literally a year later, we were playing the stage at the Croatian Cultural Center. And I went, holy shit, it's like this guy is Jesus. Holy shit. But then inevitably Dime gets killed. And I lose all motivation. I am beyond depressed because that was my dude. And like part of your brain is like, maybe one day I could play with him.
Yeah.
And because there's a cognitive side to it too. There was like, I understand that Dime is pretty much impenetrable in the world of death metal and metal guitar. Like everybody loved the guy. And so much so it's like that phrase, like, I don't trust people when they say they don't like dogs, but I trust a dog when it doesn't like a person.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, if somebody says, oh, I didn't like Dimebag, he was a piece of shit. You're like, wow, what's wrong with you? Like, what?
Right.
What? But I was super like, I didn't know what the hell to do. I didn't know what I was going to do because I thought Pantera was huge, but Damage Plan was amazing. Like to see Dime play live, but they weren't as big as Pantera. So there was a chance that my band could possibly play there. There was no chance in the world my band would play with Pantera. I realized that. Like, come on. But I called my buddy Masa, who introduced me to Pantera and metal, and he was in Victoria going to school at the time. And I went and visited him. I'm like, I'm depressed. I don't know, whatever. And he's like, well, the only thing we can do is go to a show. And I got tickets to this band. We should go see this band. And I was like, what the fuck kind of stupid ass name is Sill? And he's like, oh, they're playing with another band called Explosive Rage Disorder. I was like, well, that's more of a name than Sill.
Yeah, I like that name.
Like, this is a stupid name, Sill. And I was ranting all day about it. And then I would see, like this is a testament to how moronic I am. Because, dude, I'm building this up for dramatic thing.
That's the way it should be.
Was it PJ Harvey that did the whole, like, and now you know the rest of the story? Like, who was the guy that did that? That's I'm giving you one of those moments when you're like, and that man was Bill Gates, and you're like, holy shit. But so the whole day I'm seeing strangers on the street. Oh, you know what concert I'm going to? Sill. Oh, this is freaking dumb. Wow. I hope they're giving your money back at the door, you moron. And I'm like, and we go to this club. It's called the Sound Garden in Victoria at the time. And I start playing pool because Explosive Rage Disorder's on. I'm like, this band is awful.
And they sound like they'd be so good.
Yeah, but they weren't. They weren't.
I love the name.
There was some dude with a record player, like actual and he's just like screaming nonsense over this record player. He opened the show and was the best act of the night. And I'm like, Sill, this is the stupidest band name. And they're like, all right, next up is SYL. And I'm like, yeah, it's pronounced Sill. Who the hell is SYL? And they come out and they're like, we are Strapping Young Lad. You're not. And I was like, what? And then they just like fucking Devin, fucking small club. I just actually got goosebumps saying that, remembering that moment. Just brutal. And the City had just come out. I don't know if you're hip to Strapping Young Lad, but like City had just come out. So Detox, they're starting with that, and the drum solo and oh my fucking god. And I'm like, I don't even understand what is happening right now. Like, I remember like falling over. I'm so confused. And then Devin just losing his shit in only the way Devin could, and all his stuff in between tracks. Like, we're strapping, buy our shirts, you buy 2 t-shirts, run for your ugly girlfriend. And then they would just keep like playing shit. He's like, ladies and gentlemen, fuck you. And then he would just get the crowds losing their mind. I'm like, what is happening right now? Instant fan. Like, instant fan. And that Gene Hoglan was playing drums in that band.
Nice.
And suddenly I had like a new North Star, so to speak.
And we must be on some, like, talk about a North Star. We must be on some kind of like other universe thing, because stuff keeps coming up during this interview. I just interviewed Devin recently.
Oh my God.
I can't believe you brought that up, like, so funny. And funniest thing is I brought up something with him, like, he did a press conference a few years back at Hellfest, which is one of the other festivals I cover. Oh my God, I love that festival. And I just remember so clearly him just talking about during the press conference how much tour life is not the dream life, and how much it sucks and how much he hates it. And like, he was so brutally honest. And I brought it up during the interview. I'm like, I thought that was the greatest shit ever. I'm like, because I get that shit too, and part of it is, but I always get from people, oh man, you're living the dream life. And I'm like, I love doing it. And part of it's the dream life, but then there's the other parts they don't see. Same as with a musician. Like, there's parts of that life that is the dream life, and there's parts of it that are real shit, and like, there's parts of it that is grueling. People don't realize how grueling it is. My youngest daughter, she comes sometimes to a festival with me, and I think she gets it from coming to a festival with me, because she like one time she said it was halfway through the first day, and she's like, "Dad, I don't know how you do this every weekend. I'm done already."
Yeah.
It wasn't even the end of the first day yet. Okay. It's like, I don't think people really realize how hard musicians work by going out and going on tour. And it's, it's just insane. And like the ones that are true musicians, like this weekend, I was covering a show of one of my favorite bands who was right by my house, and I've been gone since March. So I just got home, and it was right here. And so like that morning, I sent an email. I'm like, "Hey, I was out on tour, but I need to cover this show tonight." So this is a band I couldn't see when I was a teenager that I now can see. And let's see if you know who this band is anyway, because it's a punk band. The Subhumans.
Oh shit.
Yes. And so I did something today. I'm actually going to tell you about this. Okay. So I did a live last night on my Instagram. And then when it was done, I shared it as a reel. And it was like, I was at the pit, and it was one of my favorite songs. And I decided, you know what? Instagram keeps hawking me to boost posts. So I decided this is the one I'm going to boost. Okay. So it's like your story before. 507,000 views so far to a Subhumans Instagram post. That wasn't theirs. It's mine. And literally, okay, I'm looking at it as we're speaking because I keep getting dings through the whole interview. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? 4,540 likes. And then, and look, I did the hashtag wrong. I put religious wars instead of religious wars. Maybe that's it. Maybe the misspelling of a hashtag is what did it. I don't know. But you can be sure, you talk about the spending money and doing things. Like, I always thought about, like, I'm not spending money with these social media. Like, I'm going to do it organically. Fuck that. I just spent money to boost this post. I only spent $50. Okay. It wasn't even a lot of money. And I'm like, holy shit, it does work. I also, let's get the count now. I also, I got almost 1,000 followers, all since yesterday. All of this since yesterday. Like,
wow.
So, moral of that story is maybe it is a good idea to pay these fuckers to boost our shit. Okay, because that's insane. I'm like, I'm going to go back to every post in my Instagram, and I'll spend $50 on every post, man. And I'll probably have more followers and more engagement than, DJT.
Definitely this DJT.
Right? So yeah. So there's something for you too to push this EP. Like, yeah, I never would have thought. I thought that's going to just be a bunch of bullshit. They're just going to take my nothing, because that's what happens with Facebook, even though they own Instagram. But I've done Facebook before, and don't tell them, but their ads sucked. But Instagram, their ads are pretty good. So I don't know, maybe Meta, favors Instagram. Bring back MySpace. What happened to MySpace, man?
That's another meme. It's the Tom photo. Like we all turned our backs on Tom.
Well, it took me a while to figure out what the fuck is with this Tom shit.
Right?
Like, and why is he talking to me? Why is he saying, "Hi, I'm Tom"? It reminded me of 50 First Dates.
Yeah, right. Right.
So I have one last question for you. Well, second to last.
Okay.
And that is, why the fuck are Canadian musicians so freaking good? Is it because your weather sucks so bad?
I tell my students I don't have any friends. That's That's my thing.
Oh, well, that's part of it. Because listen, okay, I did play drums from like first grade until like eighth grade. Then I switched to guitar. I sucked at drums. I sucked because I hated that I had a practice pad for years. Give me a fucking drum set. I don't want to play on a practice pad. I want to just fucking play. Of course, you have to know how to do that. So when I finally did get a drum set, like, oh, well, I guess I know why I need the practice pad. And then I switched to guitar, and I had a friend who was a really good guitarist. I had him give me guitar lessons.
Cool.
I used to come over to his garage. We were both the same age, and he would have a big bud on the table, and we need to do that before the lesson. But I just remember like doing scales and being like, fuck this. I'm not playing scales 8 hours a day. And like Randy Rhoads, I saw him live. He was my hero. And then I found out he practiced 8 hours a day. I'm like, I don't have fucking 8 hours a day to practice. Like, I just want to go play a gig. Right. That doesn't work out too well if you can't even do a chord or a scale, And so then I switched to something much easier. I decided to start singing thrash metal. I don't need to practice that. I don't need to learn an instrument. Boy, was I fucking wrong. Okay, because that's why I have so much respect for singers in death metal and metalcore and deathcore and any kind of metal nowadays that involves growling and screaming, because there is serious technique to it. I blew out my voice right away because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just screaming. And of course, you can't make it through an hour or even a half an hour show just screaming without knowing what you're doing, because your voice will. I've done it on my radio show. I've sung. I can't even get past one song. Like I'll do one song and I'll be done. My throat's fried. So I give kudos to somebody like you that stuck it out, that did all that work, and is teaching others to do it. And again, having no friends, because that's what it takes to really be good at guitar. Have no friends, no life, and sit in a room and just play it all the time. I couldn't even take hallucinogenics because then that would take up my 8 hours of time of practicing. Okay. So yeah, hats off to you. And my dad did confirm for me, although I thought he didn't know what he was talking about at the time. He's like, you better give that up. You suck. I'm like, Dad, but you don't understand. I'm experimenting, because that's why I wasn't really playing the guitar. I was just seeing what fucking sounds I could make out of it. And some of them were really cool to me. I don't know if they were cool because I was high or because they were cool, but there's so much more to it, is my point. And people think they're just going to pick it up and just do things. There's so much more to it. Now, my grandson, on the other hand, okay, he, like me, I was a total gamer. I was a total geeky nerd. It wasn't until I found metal that I got a little cool, okay, and then still be a geek and nerd, And my grandson, he's a gamer nerd, more so he was. And then so like in around the same age too as it happened to me, like 2 years ago, he's 15 now. 2 years ago, I'm like, hey, what do you want for your birthday? He goes, I want a guitar. I'm like, let's go. And we went to Guitar Center, and he sat down and he was playing a Green Day song. I'm like, what the fuck? How did that happen? How do you know how to do that? And then we're riding back in the car. Unbeknownst to me, I'm playing him all these bands, and he likes them all. Then next time I'm with him, he's wearing a Dead Kennedy shirt. I'm like, how do you know about that? And so then his mother last year, she reaches out to me. Yeah, Cole. When you see the interview, Cole is the intro does the party intro to my show.
Okay.
And then Chad, the guy that was my head engineer, he passed away a few years back. He also is in there, but my grandson, he was little when he did. I don't know, like 3 or 4 when he did the intro. It's pretty badass though. So I want to update, but I don't, but anyway, yeah. Cole wants to know if you can get him a ticket to Welcome to Rockville. And that's one of the festivals I do. I'm like, I'm not getting him a fucking ticket. He's too impressed with me. And so like he did get to do that, and like he just likes all these bands. And then I gave him the full, as my daughter-in-law put it to my son, the full Pipeman experience. He interviewed bands with me. He got to meet some of his favorite bands. Cool. We were invited to be up on stage and side stage for some bands that are his favorites, and then during Green Day, I brought him out into the crowd right by where the pits were going to be. And his mom was with us. I knew she wasn't going to be able to handle it, but she didn't think he could handle it. And so basically she's like, I'm going to go to the back. And she's like, you want to come with me, Cole? And he's like, no. And she couldn't believe it. Like, she couldn't believe it. She thought he wanted to be at all that shit. So he was there in the thick of it. We were standing in between 2 pits. And I told him, you let me know when you want to get out of here. But for now, here we are. And if you want to go in the pit, we're going in the pit. And awesome. Right. I've actually brought my son in his first pit ever. And I brought 3 of my grandsons into their first pits. Okay.
Dude, we need to send you some kind of trophy. That's what we need to do.
Right. And I've had 2 heart attacks surfing, and I still go in the pit. So fuck all the shit that people tell you about age, about, taking these big pharma drugs and shit. My solution to leading a happy, healthy life is a fucking mosh pit. And it's my solution to the world too. Okay. You want to hear my plan?
Yes.
Okay. So I have a solution to all the world's problems. We have one major music festival throughout the whole world. Everybody that is not a leader, meaning not a political leader, is required to attend. Like required. It's not an optional. It's required. And it is a metal festival. Okay. And everybody has to go all into the mosh pit and work it out. Because if everybody just, instead of all this bullshit on social media and all this hate, if everybody just got in a mosh pit, we'd work the shit out and could move on. Instead of letting these fucking assholes in the world divide us. And because the bottom line is they're all on the same team and it ain't fucking ours. Let's bound together, love each other, because that's what a metal festival is about, or a metal concert, or anything metal. We're not these scary, devil worshiping, blah, 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 blah. We're a bunch of outcasts that are now incasts in our own world. And everybody's free to be themselves and be who they are. And we're all going to love you. And we're going to knock the shit out of each other in the pit. But we're going to pick you up when you fall. And after the song's over, we're all going to have a big hug because we just fucking moshed it in the pit.
400%, dude.
Yep. 100.
I got to ask, though, what are you going to call the festival?
That's a good question. I didn't think of that yet, so I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah. I'm gonna call it the fuck the politicians, fuck the media, let's mosh it out festival.
The FTP FTM Fest.
There it is. We got it.
There's that great we're talking lots about Pantera because that's my blood. There's that great line off my favorite Pantera record, which is The Great Southern Trendkill. And there's that great line where he says, all the money in the fucking world wouldn't buy me an ounce of trust in anything you assholes are about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh shit. As I get older, that's thank you, Phil. Thank you, Phil.
Okay, so now you're gonna be fucking pissed at me.
Oh God.
Yeah, so I'm friends with this dude. I'm also friend with this dude's wife.
Oh,
And they
no.
and they were at a festival one day in the media area, getting bombarded by all the media people like it was a fucking meet and greet. And that's just so I'm not about that, by the way. And that's why I say it the way I do. Like, you're fucking there to work. It's a safe spot for the artist. It ain't a fucking meet and greet. Like, I tell people that come work a festival with me, don't ask for an autograph. Don't ask for a selfie, period. So anyway, this person, he's being really nice to everybody, signing autographs, taking pictures, and his wife calls me over. And he's like, can you do me a favor? Can you tell him I'm getting pissed? It's time to leave. He's too nice. He won't say no to anybody. So I walk over to him and I whisper in his ear and I'm like, dude, your wife's getting pissed. It's time to leave.
My God, dude. What the hell? You just talk to these. It's amazing, man.
And it's funny because then after he left, everybody fucking comes up. What do you say? What do you say? Like, dude, this is why. This is why. Stop acting like that. You're fucking professionals. Okay. Yeah. You know, there's only really 2 times that I've really seriously fanboyed out. And I've interviewed like over 3,000 bands and artists. Right.
And clearly one of those times is right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's okay. Just a person.
Yeah. It's only because of your initials.
Oh, God.
And by the way, I am recording this interview about 15 minutes from Mar-a-Lago, by the way. So
this is woo.
Yeah. So yeah. Do you want to know those 2 times?
100%.
Okay. So one time I was interviewing Roy Mayorga from Stone Sour on the tour bus.
Okay. Yeah.
I get off the tour bus and I go sit on the curb backstage. And I'm smoking a cigarette. Some dude walks over to me and starts talking to me. Now, I knew who he was, but I acted like I didn't. I played it very cool, and in my head, I'm like, oh my fucking God, so-and-so is talking to me about the fucking weather, because that's what he was talking about me. Dude, last night, the weather really sucked in Georgia, and blah, 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 blah. That was Corey Taylor.
Oh my God.
And I never really interviewed him or anything. In fact, I got fucked. You want not a COVID fucked, but similar. So basically I was supposed to interview him one time. After that, I was going to use it in the interview because it was like years before that happened. And then, I actually saw him at another festival that same year. And I was like, back behind the stage, and he comes down, and it's in Florida, so it's fucking hot as hell here. And he looks at me, he's like, dude, fucking hot as shit here. And I'm like, okay, that was a pretty cool day, because that was the extent of it, but I'm like, well, he turned and said it to me. But anyway, so Rock on the Range, they come out to me and they're like, we're bringing Corey out to you in 5 minutes for the interview. 2 minutes later, Code Red. Do you know what Code Red means at a music festival? It means you're fucked. It means you're about to get evacuated. Not about, it's time. You must leave right now. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Do not interview Corey Taylor.
Oh, shit.
And I've never gotten interviews since. I've interviewed his wife multiple times. I love her to death. But again, I'm a pro. So a lot of dicks will go through somebody like that to get the interview. I won't do that. I've never asked her ever. Okay. She wants to promote her stuff. That's my job. I've interviewed his kid. I've interviewed Clown's kid. You know, I've never interviewed Corey yet. I
Corey,
say yet.
come on.
Exactly.
Come on.
You know, and the thing is, so that was my one fanboy moment when he's sitting on a curb, smoking a cigarette with me, talking about the fucking weather. There's actually 3 fanboy moments. Okay. I forgot about one. The second fanboy moment is I was doing an award show and and it's in LA. I'm down in the garage. I just paid for my parking thing in the machine. Or no, I'm behind somebody in the machine and he's putting the ticket in and it's not working. And he turns around to me and he goes, man, do you know how to work this fucking thing? And I'm like, oh, dude, that's your receipt. You need your ticket. So he like yells over to his wife for the ticket. Can't find the ticket. Okay. And so then the security people there, they start harassing this dude. And I'm like, dude, just let him go. Do you not know who that is? And then when they finally did let him go, because I said so, he pulls up to me and he's like, fucking complicated garage here, man. Thanks for the help. Iced tea.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've interviewed Body Count, but not iced tea. Okay. And so the third moment is another person I have not interviewed. So it only happens when I'm not interviewing them. If I'm interviewing them, there's no fanboy moments usually. And so basically, I used to have this joke on my show of who the love of my life was. And everybody that listened to my show used to know who it was. So I'm at this festival one time and I go do an interview. I had to walk over to this riser to do the interview and I'm carrying all my stuff back and my wire is dragging on the ground. So this really big dude walks over and picks it up and hands it to me. Be careful, dude. And like, he was totally helpful. So I go back to my table where my stuff is, and the person that runs media at the festival, she's like, sorry, I had to take over your table because so-and-so is going to be doing a signing at your table.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And she jokes with me because she knows me, but she knows I wouldn't do that anyway. And she goes, and don't ask for an interview. I'm like, okay, I won't. So then this person's there doing the signings, and I see other media people going up and taking selfies with her. So I decide I look to the side, and who's that guy that picked up the wire? It was her security guard. So I went up to him. I'm like, hey, dude, thanks for helping me out. Do you mind? Can I get a pic with her? And I never do that. And he's like, sure. Where's your phone? Now, another thing I never do. I always have my phone on my pocket no matter what, except this time. I left it up at the riser where I did the interview.
Oh, no.
And I reached to my back pocket. It's not there. I'm like, fuck me. I'm like, hold on, I'll be right back. And I ran, man. And I do have some wheels. So I ran fast, and then the person running media said, sorry, she's got to go. She can't do it. And this was one of those moments, kind of like what you're describing before, because a lot of the media people I talk to, like sometimes they like to talk shit about certain artists. And she was one they talk about. But you know what? They talk shit is what I find out, is because maybe they don't get an interview. Or maybe they're a shitty interviewer and they don't get a good interview when they're interviewing. But it's not the artist usually. It's usually you. And so I don't listen to that shit. Whatever they say, I'm going to have my own experience and form my own opinion. And I did have a very different opinion because she told the person, hey, man, no, I want to take a picture with him. And she was so gracious, and she put, her hands on my shoulder, and she was like very endearing in the picture. Me, like an idiot, and I'm usually very good when it comes to pictures. I know when the camera's around, and I just feel it. This time my head was kind of fucked up, and I like did one of these. Yeah, so I look kind of totally stupid in the picture for sure. That was Amy Lee.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So like for all the people that would say shit, she didn't have to do that. That was the nicest thing anybody could ever do. And I will remember that forever because she did that. She was totally cool about it. And I would have totally understood if she had to leave for sure.
I've heard that she's just freaking incredibly kind. I've heard that more often than anything else I've heard. That's yeah,
And she was.
I've said for years, what a voice.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Like that's why I always called her love of my life. The goth queen, but she's classy too. And that voice,
Dude.
like that's enough. I'll tell you what, my immortal, all she have to do is sing that to me. I wouldn't even have to have any kind of thing with her. And that would be enough to give me an orgasm. Yeah, I mean, like, can you disagree with that? I mean, come on.
I'm sure I got a towel here somewhere. Oh man. Yeah. When she did that, I think it's just called "Broken." When she did with Seether.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, man! She makes every song better.
And when she does the song with Korn, oh my God,
the acoustic thing, right?
Yeah, I like that better than the real version. Like, oh my God, it's so incredible, which all says to me, people like her and many other women, I don't know what the fuck we were thinking in the 80s either, because the women are way more badass in metal than the men are. Like, you take somebody like Courtney LaPlante, like, oh my God, that voice, that fucking voice. And I watch her at festivals like I'm in amazement, okay? Because I watch her mouth and the technique she has. So when I was talking earlier about me sucking at singing because I had no technique, I'm referring to her with the technique because she has got the most badass technique I've ever seen. Like,
yeah, and if you dig Courtney, then there has to be an honorable mention to Toddy from Ginger.
That was next.
Like that one made me. I had two reactions the first time I ever heard Ginger, ever, because a lot of people discover Ginger through that Pisces video where they're in the studio or whatever. My first one was Who Is Gonna Be the One live at a festival. And like the guitar riff and the bass player and drummer in that band are phenomenal. Like, we need to talk about those guys. But she comes out and she's got like something wrapped around her waist, like a skirt style. And she's like, "Hello, everyone." And she's like doing the thing. And I'm like, all right, well, whatever, do your thing. And then she's just, and I went like when a puppy, you whistle at a puppy the first time and they're like,
right.
I did this and then I accept you.
Oh man,
that is unreal. That is awesome.
Oh yeah, she's unbelievable, man. Like, there's so many that are unbelievable. Like, these voices, they're just like, they are the masters. Like, who thought they weren't male enough to be metal? Because they're more metal than most males in a lot of cases, I find. And just total badasses. My hat's off to every woman that's in this industry, because they are just the badasses. And I think their passion is one of the reasons why metal is as big as it is now.
Okay, fair. Ginger's so good though.
Oh my God. Like,
so good.
And I hate to say this, but I was side stage for one of her shows, and I didn't even give a shit that you can't hear shit side stage. Everybody thinks it's cool to be side stage. You don't hear shit. It's not really that great. But it was this time because I was looking at a big Ginger pit, and then I was looking at her, and I didn't care about anything else. Yeah. Like, she's just, you got to check this other one out. The band's not around anymore if you don't know this band.
Okay.
But I heard she might start something new. It's been years now. So they performed at a U.S. festival. It was like their first time at a U.S. festival.
Okay.
It was pretty funny because, you know, sometimes you do have to be careful. You never know who you're talking to or whatever. And I experienced that a lot in the media tent. Like, you know, the band Gorilla?
No, I don't know this band.
So they wear all these masks. They're on Season of Mist. And I was talking to this woman, and we were just having this whole chat, and then she, that's not the band I was talking about previously, but she said, "Hey, do you know where Pipeman is? I have an interview with her. She's singer in a band." And I had no clue. So, like, good thing I didn't say anything fucking stupid, which I wouldn't, you know, but, you know, you just never know who you're talking to sometimes when you do stuff or say stuff or whatever. You know, I've interviewed Guar without their stuff on. You know, I've literally said to them, I was at like a Dimebag Bash, you know, and they were out at the bar after I interviewed them, and they didn't have their shit on it. I walked up to Blothar. I was like, by the way, good move with the costumes. It's a lot better look for you. But you know, so anyway, this band, so there's this really hot chick in the media tent, and I started to hit on her, but not like in a bad way. It was more of a flirtatious way. She had this really killer tattoo on her arm, and I said to her, I'm like, man, and I don't have any tattoos. And I was like, man, that tattoo is killer. And I don't normally walk up to people and say that. And I was being real about it, but I was hitting on her at the same time. But it was really just a harmless, you know. And so then I'm standing up by the media table, and she walks up and she goes, she asked the people at the media table, where's Pipeman? So I raised my hand. Anyway, we had an interview, but this girl, the reason I said it the way it is, super petite, super hot. What came out of her vocals, you would never imagine in a million fucking years. She was this petite blonde girl, and she created a wall of death for the audience that is one of the most brutal ones I've ever seen. And the name of the band was The Charm, The Fury. So if you've never heard of it, look it up and listen to her music, and you'll see what I'm talking about, and look at what she looks like, and then listen to her music, and you'll see what I'm talking about when you hear what comes out of her mouth.
Dude, crazy. I got one for you.
Go ahead.
Because you mentioned Courtney, and she's in a band, Spirit Box.
Really?
Spirit Box is
telling me that.
Spirit Box is from my area. Like, they're from Victoria, which is on the island. We call Vancouver Island. And Courtney was late to the band, but Spirit Box used to have a different vocalist and went by the name I Wrestled a Bear Once.
Oh my God. I interviewed a band called I Wrestle Bears.
And I used to love this band because the way they spelt their name was there was no spaces. I Wrestled a Bear Once. Like, I just thought, this is great. And then the tie into that is I have an Alex Terrible mask there who literally wrestles bears, as we've seen. But that's because he's Russian, and who cares?
It's funny that you brought him up too. See, it's all tying together, because when I'm talking about one of the most brutal walls of death, I was at the one that is on the video for Slaughter to Prevail, that was at Hellfest, that is like the most brutal, biggest wall of death in history.
Wow.
But also, it's funny you mentioned about him wrestling bears, because Welcome to Rockville this year had a pre-party that was different than any other. It was this event called Blood for Blood. Did you hear about it?
No.
So
wait, is this the bare knuckle thing?
Yes. So Alex, his band played at that in the beginning. He fought the headline fight and then played at the festival. And I'm like, that dude, before it even happened, I'm like, what a fucking badass to play and then have a bare knuckle fight and then play.
Yeah.
Like that's badass. Now, he's even more of a badass because we're going to tie the whole Rocky thing together now. In his fight, he got knocked down multiple times, but he got up real quick, just like Rocky in one of the movies, like where he gets up real quick and runs around the ring. He did the same thing. The last shot, though, did shatter him, and he got knocked down. He had a real problem getting up. Like, he got fucked up. I heard his nose got broken and everything. He still performed at the festival.
Yeah.
Broken nose and still fucking singing like a badass.
Yeah.
And he's such a nice guy, too. Like, people probably think, oh, because he's Russian, he must be blah, blah, blah. And I hate stereotypes like that. Like, just get to know people, And he is a really nice guy.
Have you seen the video of him? There's a series of disabled fans at a show that can't meet him because there's something that there wasn't a meet and greet at the show or something. And the show was huge, but they're down in their wheelchairs on the ramps or whatever to watch the show. And it's like, it's a big venue. Like, it was nuts, but it's a scenario where the band waiting area is quite high up in another thing. And he just like climbs down the thing to go and take photos with them and talk to them and stuff and say hi to all of them. I'm like, that's really cool of you. But then he climbs back up. It's like, dude, security, get an elevator. Like, wow.
Yeah, that's great.
But I just, that whole, like, because when I met Dime at the Croatian Cultural Center thing, the thing that, first of all, the thing nobody ever talks about Dimebag, the characteristic, is how much his voice bellowed in an open area. It was something. Like, that's pure Texan, I think. But I remember them coming out of the show. The bus was right there, and there had to be 300 people at the barricade waiting to meet him. And he stopped at every motherfucking person, every single one. And it was like, hey, man, how you doing? Of course. You want a photo? Of course, buddy. Thanks for coming. And literally, hey, buddy, how you doing? Tour managers yelling at them that they're late. They got to get on the road. And I remember this, like, because they're your role models. So you epitomize what they do and hopefully take the good parts into your own career. And I remember him looking at the guy and saying, Seattle is going to be there tomorrow, but these people won't be.
Nice.
And I remember that just hitting me going, like, if I ever have this kind of an opportunity, every single person means something. And shout out to Vinny Paul, of course, too.
You never know whose life you're going to touch and change forever.
Crazy, right? And I'm so grateful that was my role model and not somebody that was egotistical or something. Like, I'm so grateful that's who I somehow bonded to. It was likely because of that kindness, likely.
Yeah, totally. And that's why you Without Mercy needs to get on the Danny Wimmer festivals in the States.
Okay.
Because Rita's there all the time.
Oh my God, Rita.
Yep.
Rita.
So
hi, Rita.
Let's make that happen. Without Mercy needs to be at Danny Wimmer Festival.
Pretty please. Wait, she's not still going by Dimebag's Hag, is she?
She is.
Oh my God. It's so brutal. It sounds so offensive.
And she's so loyal to Dime. She's so loyal to Dime. Anybody that gives her any hate is a bunch of fucking assholes because she is so true and loyal. And, that's why she's Dimebag's Hag.
Good old Rita. Good old Rita. Oh man. Yeah, one day. Pretty please. There we go.
Well, as soon as this EP blows up. So, there you go. And now I think I'll have to check, but I think you might be the longest music interview I've ever done.
Oh shit, this was an interview? I thought we were just hanging out, bro.
I know, right? And so luckily I didn't have anything else. Hopefully you didn't have anything else. And so we just shot the shit here. And Blabbermouth will pick this up because there's a lot of the controversial shit that we said during it. And I'm cool with that. They can pick it up. Loudwire can pick it up. Whoever wants to pick it up. But this has been an interview without mercy. Tell everybody how they can reach out to you, connect on socials, buy the EP, stream the EP, get merch, and everything else. Because after all this time on this interview, if they don't support your band, they can fuck off and stop listening to my show.
Holy wow. Thanks, man. This has honestly been one of the best things I've ever done. This is great. Pretty please come find us on social media handles is Without Mercy Band. So that's your Instagram, your YouTube and stuff. We're really trying to build our YouTube subscribers and get monetized over there. Please. And of course, withoutmercyband.com. Send a message to us however you can. And we tend to say, hey, we like to send free shit too. So, never know. Might get something in the mail. That's how this works.
There it is. I love it. And, I have to say, I have to thank one person for making this all happen, making this interview happen, making all of it happen, and that's your wife.
Aw. Shout out to Janelle. Woo.
Yeah. Fuck you. She's the one that's important.
She's also got the best social media handle. It's Mashed Potato Chaser.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Hold on, I'm gonna have to look that up right now and follow.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm like you chase with mashed potatoes. She's like, yeah, or I chase after the best mashed potatoes in every town.
Okay, so give it to me again.
Mashed Potato Chaser.
Here it is. Mashed Potato Chaser. There it is. I have it. I like how even in her pic, she has the hat down. So you really don't see her face in the profile pic. You see the hat. I can't tell what it says yet.
It says fuck off.
I love it. I just hit it and zoomed in on it. Oh yeah. That's great. With a rainbow. I love that part. That's fucking great. So when some random dude just followed her, you could tell her who the fuck it is.
Oh man.
So there it is. We had a lot of fun. We'll have a lot more fun in the future. But I don't even know how I'm gonna have to do a special edition of my show to play this episode because it's so long. Special edition.
It being too long is never a problem I've encountered.
Yeah, somebody's gonna have to get bumped. I'm gonna have to reach back out to you too because I have this thing I'm working on. I'm thinking of doing is starting another station that is simply podcasts for bands. That bands do their own podcasts, and we handle all the hard work, and all the bullshit that you don't have time to do, don't like to do, don't want to do. So you can just show up and do what we just did. So yeah. We'll when that comes to fruition, you might be a good candidate for that with your band because
cool.
You can hold a conversation for almost 2 hours. Like that's a talent. That's a talent. No dead air. That's a talent. And
dude, it's felt like 10 minutes with you, man. This has been fun.
That's the way interviews should be. And see, I love hearing that shit because you're a musician, we're all artists. You're your own worst critic. And so I will get off an interview and I'll be like, fuck, I sucked. Kind of like Phil said. And then the band be like, man, that was the most fun interview I ever had, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess so. News to me.
Great.
Well, and your music's badass too. So we wouldn't have had this interview if your music wasn't badass. So thank God she pushed you in the beginning and kept pushing you because I have a thing on my desk right here. I'm also a motivational speaker. So I like the things she said to you. I've shared the stage with all the big motivational speakers. And one of my favorite lines comes out of one of my favorite books besides mine, because I do have a published book too, It's called Who Said Life Doesn't Come with an Owner's Manual? Because my grandmother always said life doesn't come with an owner's manual. That pissed me off. Who said that? Okay. But anyway, this book, my favorite book in that realm, is called The Greatest Salesman in the World. And it's not even a sales book, but it's by an author by the name of Og Mandino. And basically the book's really cool. Is the first half of the book is this fictional story. And the book's only like a centimeter thick. It's not a big book. But the second half of the book takes you 10 months to read if you follow the instructions. And it's basically these ancient scrolls. And basically you have to read them 3 times a day, each scroll 3 times a day for 30 days, and 1 time of those 3 times out loud. And it's basically designed to change your thought process, to create new habits, break old habits. And one of my favorite scrolls is the one called I Will Persist Until I Succeed. And basically it's, I will persist until I succeed. I'm not a sheep waiting to be pried by my shepherd. I'm a lion, and I refuse to walk and talk with the sheep. The slaughterhouse of failure is not my destiny. I will persist until I succeed. And it's basically what your wife was telling you, is the giving up, the quitting. You know, winners never quit and quitters never win. And
hustle till your haters ask if you're hiring.
There you go. I love that line too. And no other line applies more to the music business than you're going to get a lot of no's before you get the yes. And so you have survived the no's. This EP's out now. You survived COVID. You survived a lot of things through this career. This is not going to be a loss, but infinite loss will be your win.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Can't wait for every other time.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.